Was Lucifer a fallen angel, a bringer of light and knowledge, or the devouring devil himself? What does this all mean for our collective unconscious? Let's find out in this video. Lucifer was the name of various mythological and religious figures associated with the planet Venus. Due to unique movements and discontinuous appearances of Venus in the sky, mythology surrounding these figures often involved a fall from the heavens to earth or the underworld. Lucifer, Lightbringer in Latin, was the name of the planet Venus, though it was often personified as a male figure bearing a torch. The Greek name for this planet was variously Phosphorus, also meaning light bringer, or Hessophorus, meaning dawn bringer. Objectively speaking, Venus is the light bringer, as she appears most brightly in the sky in December, while the most regular appearance of the planet signaled a beginning of rebirth phase where the days would get longer and winter would end. Lucifer was said to be the fabled son of Aurora and Cephalus, and father of Ceyx. He was often presented in poetry as heralding the dawn. Interpretations of a similar term in the Hebrew Bible, translated in the King James Version as the proper name Lucifer, led to a Christian tradition of applying the name Lucifer and its associated stories of a fall from heaven to Satan. But modern scholarship generally translates the term in the relevant Bible passage as morning star or shining one, rather than as a proper name Lucifer. Ovid, in the 1st century epic Metamorphoses, describes Lucifer as ordering the heavens. Aurora, watchful in the rendering dawn, threw wide her crimson doors and rose-filled halls. The stele took flight and marshaled the order set by Lucifer, who left his stallion last." End quote. Before we move onwards to discover the role Lucifer played in Christianity, be sure to like, share and subscribe if you want more videos like this.
It's commonly thought that the devil first showed up in the Bible in the book of Genesis as the serpent who convinced Eve, who then convinced Adam, to eat forbidden fruit from the tree of the knowledge in the Garden of Eden. As the story goes, after Eve fell for the devil's convincing ways, she and Adam were banished from the Garden of Eden and doomed to mortality. The snake in the Garden of Eden was also believed to be Lilith, the mother of demons. If we consider this story from an archetypal approach, we can see that Lucifer and Lilith were responsible for the evolution of ego consciousness, as the Garden of Eden was too encompassing for growth. This also teaches us that all systems are prone to failure and that God himself couldn't build a place safe enough from evil. If we look at this from a developmental standpoint, a question arises. Would you want to protect something for eternity or make it stand by itself in the face of evil and tragedy? Hence, very early in Clement of Rome, we meet with the conception of Christ as the right hand and the devil as the left hand of God. Not to speak of Judeo-Christian view, which recognized two sons of God, Satan the elder and Christ the younger. Many Christians believe that the devil was once a beautiful angel who defied God and fell from grace. That's why Dante in Inferno put forward the idea that the last level in hell, the center of all malevolence, is betrayal. In a modern translation from the original Hebrew, the passage in which the phrase Lucifer or morning star occurs begins with the statement, "On the day the Lord gives you relief from your suffering and turmoil, and from the harsh labor forced on you, you will take up this taunt against the king of Babylon. How the oppressor has come to an end, how his fury has ended." After describing the death of the king, the taunt continues. "How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn. You have been cast down to the earth, you who once laid low the nations. You said in your heart, 'I will ascend to the heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit enthroned on the Mount of Assembly. on the utmost heights of Mount Zaphon. I will ascend above the tops of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. But you are brought down to the realm of the dead, to the depths of the pit. Those who see you stare at you. They ponder your fate. Is this the man who shook the earth and made kingdoms tremble? The man who made the world a wilderness? Who overthrew its cities and would not let his captives go home? Some scholars argue that this passage refers to the king of Babylon, and that the Abrahamic scriptural texts could be interpreted as a weak usurping of true kingly power and a taunt at the failed regency of Belshazzar. Sometime later, the metaphor of the morning star gave rise to the general use of the Latin word for morning star, capitalized as the original name of the devil before his fall from grace, linking Isaiah chapter 14 verse 12 with Luke chapter 10 verse 18. I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven, and interpreting the passage in Isaiah as an allegory of Satan's fall from heaven. The idea that the devil governs hell may have come from the poem by Dante Alighieri, the Divine Comedy, published in the early 14th century. In it, God created hell when he threw the devil and his demons out of heaven with such power that they created an enormous hole in the center of the earth. Also, in Dante's Divine Comedy, Lucifer, with his 3 heads in the earth's deepest abyss, is the counterpart to the Holy Trinity. In the New Testament, the devil fights as the Lord of this world against the kingdom of God. The Bible doesn't describe the devil in detail. Early artistic interpretations of the Divine Comedy, featuring shocking images of the devil and his demons inflicting almost unimaginable human suffering, only emboldened people's thoughts about hell and the devil. And by the end of the Middle Ages, the devil had taken on the appearance of horned, trident-wielding figure with a tail that has endured to modern times. This image can be tracked to the Greek god Pan, who was half man and half goat. He was horned and fury, and in Greek mythology, he could incite lust, panic, mindless fear, and rage. The worship of Pan usually involved drinking, nudity, orgies, and rituals of an ascetic nature.
Going down the Jungian pattern of thought, we may say that in the 13th and 14th century, the belief in the devil reached its climax. Misfortune, illness, blasphemy, passion, all these were attributed to the devil and his sorcery. Pagan magic and rituals were revived in the belief in witches, particularly in its feminine and natural aspects. In the 17th and 18th centuries, belief in the devil decreased. The devil was rationalized and depersonalized. He was no longer the evil power at whose mercy mortals lived, but he became the evil instinct within man's heart: egotism. Let's summarize the most important characteristics of the devil concept. The devil is the black one, the opposite of light. When he appears red, he is of a fiery and passionate nature, and causes wantonness, hate, or unruly love. As the green one, he is related to vegetation and nature. He appears as a goat, snake, cat, or puddle. He is seen with a cloven hoof, filthy, and with a tail. He is living in the earth and represents the earth power of the Titans and man's being bound to the earth. He stands for our animal nature. As a wild hunter and heir to Wotan, he is the spirit of internal unrest who storms through the skies on his horse. His wings point to his relation to the thinking function. As Mephistopheles, he is arrogant, egomaniacal, cunning, and eager to draw man into dust and matter. Rudolf Steiner's writings, which form the basis for anthroposophy, characterize Lucifer as a spiritual opposite to Ahriman, with Christ between the two forces, mediating a balanced part for humanity. Lucifer represents an intellectual, imaginative, delusional, otherworldly force which might associate with visions, subjectivity, psychosis, and fantasy. He associates Lucifer with the religious philosophical cultures of Egypt, Rome, and Greece. In Anton LaVey's The Satanic Bible, Lucifer is one of the 4 crown princes of hell, particularly that of the East, the Lord of the Air, and is called the bringer of light, the morning star, intellectualism, and enlightenment. Let's explore the intellectual part of Lucifer, as that's the most prominent energy that I feel in today's modern empirical science practice. As Jordan B. Peterson said, "Intellect is a remarkable faculty, is the highest angel in God's heavenly kingdom, but it's also a thing that can go most terribly wrong because intellect can become arrogant about its own existence and accomplishments. And it can fall in love with its own products, and that's what happens when you're ideologically ill and possessed because you end up with a dogma which you believe is 100% right, so it eradicates the necessity for anything transcendent. That's the subtle element of the intellect that's associated symbolically with the snake in the Garden of Eden." End quote. Lucifer was perhaps the one who best understood the divine will, struggling to create a world, and who carried out that will most faithfully. By rebelling against God, he became the active principle of a creation which opposed to God a counter-will of its own. Because God willed this, we are told in Genesis that he gave man the power to will otherwise. Had he not done so, he would have created nothing but a machine, and then the incarnation and the redemption would never have come about, nor would there have been any revelation of the Trinity, because everything would have been one forever. The Lucifer legend is in no sense an absurd fairy tale. Like the story of the serpent in the Garden of Eden, it's a myth with therapeutic qualities. Jung saw our inner demon as the force that drives us towards individuation, that inner force that allows us to discern, to differentiate, to create, to respond spontaneously to the novel opportunity, to wake up to aspects of life that we're being missing. This is the devil within, and in such ways our inner daimon fosters our living more deeply who we are. The devil within us provides us with initiative, the impetus to do things, to start things, to challenge the gods. Eve ate the apple in the fall that made us great. Prometheus brought us fire, the one gift that set us apart from the animals. Warmth, heat, light, energy, and all our technologies have been built on this gift. Jung reminds us that Satan taught man the arts and sciences, hence his name Lucifer, the Light Bearer, the source of illumination. Paradoxically, the energy associated with blackness and darkness is the same energy that provided the enlightenment of knowledge, crafts, technologies, and learning in human civilization. Finally, Jung drew from Goethe's story of Faust the realization that it required the intervention of the devil to get Faust to recognize how much of his life he had missed. In this way, the devil can be an agent provocateur, an intrusive, unwelcome, disturbing force that shakes us up, perhaps destroying long-cherished dreams, which we come to recognize in time really would not have served us, while also opening up new avenues of living. The devil within can be thought of as an autonomous dynamism, fittingly called man's daimon, genius, guardian angel, better self, heart, inner voice, the inner and higher man, and so forth. Close beside these, beside the positive, right conscience, there stands the negative, false conscience called the devil, seducer, tempter, and evil spirit.
Let's conclude this video with a quote from Jung in his answer to Job. "The only thing that really matters now is whether man can climb up to a higher moral level, to a higher plane of consciousness, in order to be equal to the superhuman powers which the fallen angels have played into his hands. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know when we post a new one. If you want to support the channel, visit the Patreon link down below. Thanks for rebuilding Olympus.